Hi, this is Warren. Today we're going to talk about how do you finance the purchase of a business. Well, financing the purchase of a business is similar to buying real estate. The requirements for how you structure the financing works basically along the same lines. The only difference is that in purchasing a business, you may have to get involved in a more in-depth due diligence in regards to the finances of the business. See, in purchasing real estate, depending on the type of property you're looking at, if a single-family house or multiple family house, at primarily the income, the expenses, and the value of the property. And you can make an assessment based on the appraised value plus the operating income of the property less the expenses to give you the net operating income. You can determine if there is enough cash flow in that transaction to support the purchase of that property. Well, in business, there's a whole lot more detail. Because in business, you're now dealing with employees, you're dealing with a variety of governmental agencies that you may have to either get clearance through and or be qualified through, depending on the type of business. You may have certain types of licensing that you may require. And then it's a little bit more intricate in how you review the financials of the business. I have, over the years, reviewed hundreds of financials for a variety of businesses, and you'll find that some sellers can be very crafty in how their finances are constructed, and if you don't have a qualified person that can help you with the due diligence of the financials of the company, you may end up buying a pig in the poke and may not realize till after the fact that the deal may not have been worth the money you paid and may not have the kind of cash flow or opportunities that may have been explained by the seller. I'll give you an example of a large major corporation who over the last 2 years made that mistake and had to write off a multi-billion-dollar deal. A couple of years ago, HP, Hewlett-Packard, purchased a computer firm in the UK, and this was a multi-billion-dollar transaction, and the financials that were prepared for the purchase were reviewed by an international accounting firm, but yet, months after the transaction was completed, HP found out that the company did not have the revenues or earnings that was reported by the sellers of the company, and basically had to write off that deal, and there were some individuals caught with fraud in that deal. So it's just to say that even if you're a large corporation with the resources to do due diligence, even in a scenario like that, you can lose a lot of money when somebody really wants to cheat you out of your money. But this call is not about the steps one has to go through in relationship to doing due diligence. This is about how do we raise the capital towards a down payment and purchase of a business. Now, depending on the size business that you're looking for, that'll determine where you access the capital from. Now, you can access capital from friends and family towards your down payment. That's what Howard Schultz did when he purchased Starbucks. You can access angel investors. You can access venture capitalists. You can access private lenders for these types of transactions. There are a variety of mechanisms one can use in relationship to purchasing and raising the down payment for the purchase of a business. Again, the size of the business will determine which avenue you will choose to go down in regards to where you get your down payment money. For a deal that's, let's say, under $500,000, you may want to consult and ask friends and family for the down payment money. For deals north of $500,000, $1 million, you may want to go to a more professional investor. Again, if your resources and network allows that family and friends participation, even in a larger deal, then I encourage you to do it. But if you don't have the network and resources, then you may want to look at a professional investor or investors. Now, what I'm encouraging you today to do is also look at the opportunities in using bank lines of credit, again, to use as down payments towards the purchase of your business. Bank lines of credit are a lot easier accessible than many people realize. And if you have excellent credit, and that's credit score of at least 720, you can raise anywhere between $150,000 to $1 million utilizing bank lines of credit. The lines of credit comes either in the form of checks or debit cards you can draw against your line, or you can access business credit cards as another way of utilizing bank lines of credit. Now, it's important that you understand that when applying for these lines, that one, you know which lenders to go to. Two, you know the criteria that these lenders are looking for in order for you to qualify for the funding. Three, the length of time it would take for you to access the funding, because you don't want to be in a situation where you've signed an offer or letter of intent and you have a deadline date in order to have your deposit money and your lines are not in place. So part of what you will do is try to get pre-qualified for your financing as quickly as possible, which my company can help you with. We will not only get you pre-qualified, but in most cases, we'll actually help you get the funding in place so that way you can start looking for deals. Now, this program is good for what the market what in the market is known as an unfunded sponsor. A funded sponsor is someone who already has a fund that they've raised X amount of dollars towards a particular type of project or acquisition or fund. An unfunded sponsor is an individual who looks for deals but usually has to put the money together based on the type of deal that they have at the table. So they don't usually have money ready and available for a transaction, but have the wherewithal to put together the funds that are necessary in order to do a transaction. And what you will find, once you have that first and second deal done, it's easier, then becomes easier to access capital. See, capital follows success. Capital follows success. As you become more successful in acquiring businesses, the money will become easier for you to access, and you'll find that your reputation will precede you, wherein that people with capital will come to you and ask you if you want additional capital to do transactions. Now again, as I mentioned earlier, in order to do a line of credit, you should have good credit. But should that? No. You should have good credit. But let's say you don't have good credit. Let's say your credit is not the best. Let's say you're somewhere in the 600. Should that preclude you from taking advantage of this kind of opportunity? No. What I usually encourage is if your credit is not up to standard, then you should find a partner or partners who have the credit worthiness that will then qualify for the financing. There are several lenders out there that we know of, and we also know the criteria for lending, that even if you have a startup, you can raise the initial $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 without having an existing business. Literally, you have a startup opportunity that you can raise the capital for. And I encourage you that you find a business that's already in existence, that already has cash flow, that can support not only the debt portion of the financing of the purchase, but also support the portion of the funding that you access through the lines of credit in order to come up with a down payment. And through organic means wherein which you grow the company and or you expand the company through additional acquisitions, your cash flow will grow and you will be in a position to retire the initial funding that you started off with. There's a little bit more complexity in these types of transactions, and we are here to help you develop the strategies that are necessary for you to become a success in acquiring businesses. So friends, if you would like more information, click on the link below, sign up for more information, and one of my trained staff will follow up with you and will get you on the path to business and acquisition success. If this information you have found valuable, please like, share it, and subscribe to this channel, because we have more strategies that you can utilize on your road to building wealth and prosperity. Thank you.